Great. So we are live now. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another session of Sustainable Saturday. Sustainable Saturdays are a series of sessions where we invite guests, our staff, and various other renowned speakers from the field of environment to discuss various related topics and give us their knowledge and experiences about them. So today we have with us Jehu Nadar. Mr. Jehu is our social media executive here at Green Yatra, and he brings his expertise in zoology to focus on promoting native species and combating desertification. His major interest lies in working on raising awareness on water conservation and native animals. Today, Jehu will dive into a rather unexplored interesting topic, desertification, and the various ways that we can mitigate desertification. So over to you, Jehu.
Yeah, good morning everyone, and I'm Jehu Pandyan Nadar, and I'll be talking about how we can reclaim deserts. I'll be beginning with what are deserts and how do they affect us internationally as well as in India, and the various organizations rules regarding them, and the various methods employed to uh, survive in deserts by ancient cultures and both foreign cultures and our own Indian civilization. So let's dive into the topic. So, what is a desert? A desert is any barren landscape with little rainfall. Like the rainfall is very low, and hence vegetation is also low because obviously life needs water to survive, and because the vegetation is bare minimum, the soil gets exposed to the climate, and wind will blow away the topsoil. Sun will bake out the remaining surviving soil, clay, and make the land even more barren. So about one third of the land surface of Earth is arid or semi-arid. Arid in the sense it will be like a desert, and semi-arid will be like a proper example would be semi-arid regions in Marathwada, the most of the Deccan Plateau in India, and some of the arid regions in America. Like if you're to use a familiar region to convey my this semi-arid regions. So most of the Deccan Plateau is semi-arid regions, thorny, scrubby forests, those sort of areas come under that, and arid will be proper deserts. Deserts can be classified by the amount of precipitation that falls. So uh, in the first case, precipitation is very low, but the precipitation doesn't mean like it is completely rainless. So once in a few years, it does rain in the desert, or some deserts do receive rainfall every year, but it's like a very short period of time, and the rainfall is very intense or intense, and it won't come again for until the next year or a few years down the line. So and so deserts can be classified by based on that criteria and by the temperature. So there are this cold deserts and hot deserts, the temperature during the day will soar beyond 40-50 degrees Celsius, and in the night time it will dip low like 10 degrees Celsius, something around that. For example, Thar Desert in India, Sahara Desert. So most of the deserts around the tropical region are like this, and cold deserts will be deserts like rainfall doesn't occur there, but snowfall does occur. And since the water is locked away in snows and glaciers, it is also a barren place and hence called as a desert. Example would be North CHN glaciers, those sort of region like in Ladakh, Leh Ladakh, those sort of place, cold deserts, Antarctica, and northern part of Russia, those sort of places, Canada, northern part of Canada, or all will be cold deserts. And uh, and desertification we'll look into the word later, but yeah, based on the way the a particular area turns into a desert, it can also be classified. And and based on geographical location also. So throughout geological history, deserts have grown and shrunk naturally. So are deserts natural? Yeah, they are completely natural. And do we need them? Yeah, we do need them. And why do we need them? We'll see in the succeeding slides, which will come. So yeah, as this last line mentions, throughout geological history, deserts grow and shrink naturally, even without human interference. So what's the big deal? If deserts naturally grow and shrink over a period of time, then why do we need to limit their growth and stop their advancement? So uh, the thing is that in the recent era after the industrial revolution, human activities have increased, and we have become a unstoppable force on planet Earth with the help of machines and oil. By the power of oil, we have conquered every landscape known to Earth. Even the uninhabitable places, hostile places of Earth are under our control, are under human control, and hence, this past few decades, we have like taken part in destructive activities, which have like helped the deserts to spread their influence beyond their regions in a rapid rate. So what happens is that deserts increase, decrease, but the nature itself controls its growth depending on the rainfall. The growth of a desert is entirely dependent on rainfall. So if it rains more, the plants will overtake the desert, and if a few years of drought comes, the desert will overtake the buffering zones. So the uh, you can call that a boundary of the perimeter of the desert keeps on buffering depending on the rainfall. So nature itself controls it. But due to human activities recently, uh, we are turning grasslands and shrubby lands, thorny shrubby lands, into arid regions because of our activity and our like modern way of doing agriculture, which renders the land fallow, like sending it to the path of desertification. So it's a pretty complex topic, and desertification, even though there is a two-line definition here, there are more than 100 definitions for this word alone. So it's a pretty complex topic. So let's see to it. What we can get out of this. So the first cause of desertification is always loss of most vegetation. So vegetation is what keeps the land from turning into a desert. Think about it like a plant, a tree, a shrub, a grass. What all they can do to a soil or to a particular area? They hold the soil, topsoil, the fertile part of the region. They hold the topsoil. Their roots hold the topsoil. Their shade keeps the land cool. They prevent wind erosion, water erosion, and there are many functions which plants do. And once you remove them out of the equation, so what happens is that this balance no longer remains. This first cause of desertification is equal to loss of most vegetation. So once one of these factors get affected, the other will gain the upper hand. And so yeah, the causes of desert are by drought, climatic shifts. These are like natural causes. Tillage for agriculture. Yeah, so this is our misunderstood practices of agriculture, right? Excessive fertilizers, like those sort of stuff, which can render any good land fallow. So and overgrazing. Yeah, overgrazing is a big issue, especially in deserts, in regions bordering deserts, because since the water level is low, precipitation is low, you can't practice agriculture there, and most of the desert civilization is dependent on cattle's. So what happens is that if it rains in a particular place, grass will sprout out, and this nomads, these people, they go and they graze it. They completely graze out the uh, patch of grass, and so which increases desertification. during ancient times this wasn't a big problem, because you see the herd sizes used to be low, population used to be less, and hence the grass, even if the nomads used to take them for grazing, the grasses or the plants would not be damaged in that big of a scale, uh, because of the increasing population and more number of mouths to feed, more number of cattle, more the impact. You can increase the cattle, you can increase population, but you can't increase the rainfall, and you can't increase the grasses which grow on those and that rainfall. So there is a limit, right? A particular region has a limit. We are like overdoing it. And deforestation, of course, deforestation for fuel, construction materials, everything. So these are the various things which cause desertification, mostly. And this causes lead to increased rate of erosion by wind, water, like runoff. They like remove the top layer, and just as I told you, like the sun will bake it. The remaining layers of lower layer of soil will like become like hard pan, like a hard pan. Like so, even if
It
it
basically dried off.
like yeah.
It's basically dried off
So even
completely.
if yeah, completely dried off. So even if a rainfall occurs, like even if like and the seeds which are like dormant in this hard pan, they will not be able to grow, because there is no longer the roots can't penetrate the soil at all. So even after a few years, like after this land becomes a unproductive hard pan, even if rainfall occurs, it won't be the plants won't be able to do it. So it will have to like redo the process completely. We will need to go from again from lichens, then from grasses, then shrubs, then the climax, the previous situation, like climax situation. To reach that, we will have to take like a lot of time will go before the climax of that region occurs again. So effects, and what are the effects of this? Sand and dust storms, food insecurity, vegetation patterning. These are like all common reasons. I don't have to explain them. Increasing poverty, of course. So, aeolian process. So, when it comes to deserts, like rainfall occurs once in a few years, or like once in a few months, depending on the region. So, major erosion occurs due to wind. Wind is always there in a desert. So
Hmm.
aeolian process is the ability of winds to shape the surface of Earth. So winds transport the soil, sand, minerals, everything they transport from one place to another. And even though they are not as strong as water in eroding Earth's surface, they are a significant force, and they can deal a big like a big influence. They can influence a region, but in a big way, especially if the region is sparsely vegetated. Examples: desert. Um, a lack of soil moisture also. Like if the soil is completely dry, the wind will have huge influence there. Example: desert. And a large supply of sediments. Example: desert. So all these three things matches with desert region, or a region which is undergoing a process of desertification, and
Okay.
winds will fast track the process. So aeolian deposits are deposits made by wind. Like wind will carry a soil from one region to another, sometimes like thousands of kilometers away. So it's not only seen in arid regions, it's also seen in shorelines along semi-arid regions like the Deccan Plateau, the thorny and shrubby regions of Deccan Plateau. So those sort of areas also. So it's a big topic. Let's not get in deep into that. And so yeah, a surprising example, which mostly you might be knowing if you are using social media like me. So the last line shows a big influence of aeolian process. So every year 22,000 tons of phosphorus reaches Amazon. Amazon is in South America, not that Amazon, that the e-commerce one. This is a forest in South America, which is like completely different continent, and there's an entire Atlantic Ocean between them. So that's a huge distance. And the dust from Sahara, which is in Africa, northern Africa, travels all the way to Amazon, recharging the phosphorus, which is lost by Amazon due to rain and flooding. So Amazon was pretty big rivers, and the rate of like sediment washout is higher in Amazon. So it's a good thing that this aeolian presses exist. So Amazon is enjoying it. And depend and what's the Indian context? So according to India, like the aeolian process in India is mostly seen in Thar region and along the coastal areas of India, hurricanes, those sort of stuff. And so yeah, this one I took this example because it was the most recent one available, and it had a huge impact on northern India. So 2018 Indian dust storms from 2nd to 3rd May, high velocity dust storms swept across parts of India. Like the storm like began at Thar desert. So what happens is that Thar plays a huge role inviting southwestern monsoon winds from the like Arabian Ocean. So winds are attracted by Thar Desert. Like Thar Desert is a hot region, and it is like a open passageway for winds to travel into India. Thar region is like a it's not blocked by mountains or anything, so wind can easily travel into India. So through Thar, and Thar is a desert, and deserts hot region attract wind, which are like mostly cold from Arabian Ocean. And these winds, what they do is they bring the monsoon season, which we have from I think summer monsoon, which we call like the from June to October, which is the major monsoon season in India. So Thar is directly responsible for that attracting those summer monsoon winds from Arabian Sea. So this dust storms usually occur in northern India. Like they are common in northern India around this time, like May, just before a few months from monsoon, like May, March, April, May, March, May. Like they have dust storms, normal dust storms, but this dust storm was particularly violent, and it occurred in the night. So even so, the government couldn't warn the people properly, and even if the government managed to warn the people, like the people couldn't protect themselves because it happened in the night when everyone was sleeping. So 125 people died and over 200 were injured after winds like swept on 8,000 electricity poles and trees, hundreds of trees.
Oh,
So yeah, so it was a pretty big and it pretty big incident, and it happened because of the winds from Thar Desert. And yeah, so Indian deserts and are deserts necessary? So yeah, mostly when you think about desert, like the you don't feel a particular attachment to it unless you are from a culture which is based in desert. Like deserts are not beautiful, it's a hostile place. When you think about like calm place or a good place to go, you think about lush green forest, waterfalls, or even a snowy mountain would come in that list, but not deserts. So humans have a innate hostility towards desert. We don't like deserts. I don't like deserts, so I don't
because
know.
of the whole notion कि it's going to be very hot and
Yeah, yeah,
थक
very
जाएंगे
uncomfortable.
बहुत ज़्यादा.
Yeah, yeah, very uncomfortable place.
Correct.
So yeah, so and Indian deserts. So the deserts we have in India, like there are the prominent desert, most famous desert will be the Thar Desert,
Correct.
and cold deserts like Leh, Ladakh, in the northern most part of Himalayas, uh, and the Deccan thorn scrub forests, which can be classified as desert if you like it's a semi-arid region. So if you take a map of India and you search for arid and semi-arid regions will include Thar Desert, cold deserts, and semi-arid regions will include this the Deccan thorn scrub forest, which makes a major part of southern India. So like stretching all the way from Maharashtra, like the south of Vindhyas, which is like Chota Nagpur, Marathwada region, and going all the way to Tamil Nadu. And yeah,
Okay.
so this Deccan thorn scrub forest exists for a reason, like because what happens is that the Deccan plateau is like bordered by on the eastern side by Coromandel coast, like Eastern Ghats, and on the western side by Western Ghats. So every rain which comes, so summer monsoon winds like travel from Arabian Sea and go northward, but the Western Ghats like block those winds and remove their precipitation. The moisture content, the Western Ghats will take it and leave the bare empty clouds over this part of India, over the Deccan Plateau, which receives very less rainfall because all the rain was already taken by Western Ghats. And this same wind when travels again, it like this wind, this summer monsoon wind travels all the way to north, and then it takes a reverse direction. So and during that time it is called as winter monsoon, and winter monsoon occurs in the eastern part of eastern part of India along the coastal regions. So especially in Tamil Nadu, in my village, we do get this rainfall. It starts from around like somewhere November, December, and extends all the way to January, something like. So this
So these
same
are
wind,
like regular rainfalls, like how we have.
yeah, yeah, it occurs every year.
Oh,
So
okay.
it occurs every year. So we get two rainfall because we live in a tropical place. Like we don't have winter season.
Oh,
We get rainy season again. So
that's
so
interesting.
yeah. So even when returning, even when this rains like this class summer wind, summer monsoon wind travels north until over the Deccan Plateau, and it gets some precipitation from Bay of Bengal. And while returning, also the Eastern Ghat blocks it, and Eastern Ghat takes away most of the moisture, and again sends the empty clouds over this Deccan Plateau. So Deccan Plateau is a dry place with low amount of rainfall. So that's the reason behind this. And
Okay.
Terikade is it's a place in Thuticorin, which is east of eastern part of Western Ghats. So my it's in lies in east part of my village. So what happens is that I reside in Kalakade, which is like which borders Western Ghats on the east part of Tamil Nadu. So Western Ghats here and my village here. And as you travel from towards the east, you go to Thuticorin, towards Rameshwaram, towards the eastern coast of Tamil Nadu. So you can while traveling you can see that the region gets gradually turns into like desert only. It goes on like increasing in dryness. So my village is mostly green, and most of the year it is green only. And as you keep on traveling towards the eastern side of Tamil Nadu, it gets the region transforms from evergreen forest to a dry, scrubby land. So Thericard is formed because for like by a similar reason. We'll see later. Like we'll see it in the coming slides how it forms. So and the last one is cold deserts, which is Leh Ladakh. And so these are the three lines I was talking about. Like Indian climate is strongly influenced by Himalayas and Thar Desert. So Himalayas, coming to the second line, like the Himalayas prevents cold Central Asian katabatic winds from blowing in. So the Mongolia side, the China, Western China region, which is a desert, Gobi Desert, something. It the winds blowing from there, cold winds, they do not pass over the Himalayas. So India is shielded by shielded by those cold winds by Himalayas, which keep India warmer, comparatively warmer to other countries which are like along the same altitudes. So like Arabia on the east side, like Burma, Myanmar, so those sort of.
Okay.
So and Thar deserts like attract rainfall, the summer monsoon which I was talking about. And
Hmm.
yeah, deserts are necessary. And the last point and the most important one is the flora. Deserts are home to very particular type of plants and animals which cannot survive, which do not like to survive anywhere else, which or else the better wording will be like they can survive in this harsh habitat. They have learned to survive in this harsh habitat. So like so these animals and plants require deserts to thrive. So
Yeah.
yeah. So even if we like we learn like we can turn the if we turn seawater into a fresh water, and we can completely drown the desert, Thar desert, and we can turn it into an agricultural land. It is not a good thing to do. Even if we are able to do that, we should not be doing that. So
Of course.
because we'll be destroying this habitat. So
Correct.
yeah. And yeah, so I was talking about Thar Desert. Thar Desert, we everybody knows the geography of the region of India, obviously. So the Thar Desert receives sediments from the sand and the soil. The sediments in Thar Desert come from the alluvial plains of Indus River. Indus River is in Pakistan. So the the silt which is carried by rivers, the rich silt which is carried by rivers are taken by the winds, and they are like deposited in Thar Desert, and the sand from the coastal regions, eastern coasts, are carried by winds and are deposited in Thar Desert. So that's the way the Thar Desert gets its sediment. So and the Thar Desert doesn't spread towards the eastern part of India, northeastern part of India. Even though the summer monsoon winds blow through that region, uh, for that monsoon winds, the Thar Desert, the Aravalli ranges, the Aravalli hills block the most of the soil, the sandstorm, those sort of stuff. They stop the desert from progressing ahead into like Haryana, Delhi, UP. So it's like Aravalli ranges are like the thing which stops Thar Desert from expanding. But uh, even Aravalli hills are getting destroyed these days. So it won't be long before Aravalli hill itself will not exist, and Thar Desert will travel inside. So we so shifting sand dunes that receive, yeah, so I talked about this like already. So the sand is highly mobile due to strong winds that rise each year before the onset of monsoon, yeah, summer monsoon winds. So and Luni river is the only river in desert, and it arises from the Aravalli ranges. So uh, Aravalli ranges blocks the clouds and receives rainfall. Aravalli range and the water from a river which is called Luni river, and Luni River is freshwater for like 50% of the distance, and once it reaches deeper parts of the desert, the soil in desert which is very salty turns the river also salty. So it is rendered like you can't, and the river itself disappears in the middle of the desert. Like it doesn't reach the sea. It percolates into the ground and is lost. Like it goes underwater. So underground, sorry, underwater. So that's the only source of water in Thar Desert, natural source of water. So rainfall is 100 to 500 millimeter, like, and it is per year. So we are lucky, like Thar Desert receives rainfall per year between June and September, and this is also because of the summer monsoon wind.
Okay.
Yo, so I was talking about Theri Desert, Theri Garden. It's so it is formed by Theri Garden is mostly formed by in the Therigad is located in eastern coast of Tamil Nadu. So the most of the sand are from that part of the region, like from the eastern coast. And oh, you need to know a little bit of geography. So there is a gap between in the Western Ghats between the coastal region of Tamil Nadu, between Kanyakumari and Western Ghat, the tip of the Western Ghats. There is a gap which which allows the wind from the Eastern Ghats to escape through that part. So this gap is called as Aral Vaimoli gap, and so what happens is that due to deforestation and lack of vegetation in this part, due to agricultural activities, the wind escaping from this part of Tamil Nadu, like this gap of Western Ghat, also carries away, sand, soil from from this part, which forms a border of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and deposits them in this desert. So, and this desert looks completely like a blood red. The soil in the desert looks blood red. So it's a completely red colored desert. So you can see like how deserts are forming at real time in India. So most of the regions in Tamil Nadu are thorny scrubby forests, okay, but not deserts. But Terikadu is like a recent, very recent phenomenon, not very recent, but recent phenomenon because of this kind of human activities. And there is this thorny scrubby forests and grasslands in arid regions of India are getting turning into deserts. So it's a live example of which you can see. So because of because in India we consider shrublands, thorny scrublands, and grasslands as wastelands. So what we do is like we remove those plants and we try to do stuff to we try to make it like useful, and we end up creating disasters like this. So this is a live example of how a desert can be forming due to human activity. So and cultivation is not feasible in Terikadu. Terikadu itself in Tamil means like uh, useless land. Like you can't use the land for agriculture. But palm trees and those sort of plants which can grow in like dry parts of India, they survive there, and it rains occasionally there. Like it rains, rainfall is proper, but the it's like it quickly the water quickly runs off, and it's not utilized properly. So it's mostly like similar to the most part of Marathwada. So similar. So yeah. So historically, is there any examples of Indians stopping desertification, trying to do anything related to stopping the spread of deserts? So of course, large scale desertification is like a very recent phenomenon, which we are focusing particularly during recent years. But historically, people used to practice methods like water harvesting, those sort of stuff, which can be considered but they were doing it for survival, but not trying to stop desertification in the proper sense. So the first example of uh, uh, desertification, trying to stop desertification or something like that, like which I found was like this was a really funny example, and a very historical example. Like so this is called as a great hedge. So the great hedge was like I'll show the map only. So this is the great hedge. So you can see that this is British India during the 1860s. So
Okay.
yeah, like 1850s, 1860s, something around that. So this red line, you can see like the red line and this green line and this red line again. So this is called as customs line. So salt used to be produced in this part of India. This is Gujarat, Rajasthan. We have salt lakes here, and salt used to be produced in this part of India. So what happens is that British used to tax the salt. So salt tax, you might have heard, like Gandhiji took a satyagraha walk to break the salt tax. He walked all the way to Gujarat and broke the salt, like that sort of stuff. So British used to implement a salt tax, and what happens is that people didn't want to pay salt taxes, and smugglers used to smuggle salt from the western part of India to the eastern part of India, here,
Hmm.
Oudh, Bengal, and this part of India. So what happens is that the Britishers, they tried to stop it by like first they tried to build like this. They during the 1840s, they like placed dry branches, thorny branches. Like you see this in the rural part of India. Like we use thorny branches, dead plants to like create fencing. So Britishers tried this. but you can see that this is a pretty huge distance. And this dead plants like required like frequent maintenance, because they like animals, plants, or insects used to remove them, throw them, burn them, anything. Humans, smugglers used to burn them, everything. So what happens is that during 1869, Alan Octavian Hume, this guy was the commissioner of Inland Customs. He took very like many efforts like to learn about Indian plants and to find out which one can be used to create a live edge. So he planted trees all the way from here, Peshawar, which is in Afghanistan, I guess. Afghanistan, all the way to Odisha. And the plants he used was Indian plum, babul, karonda, euphorbia, and prickly pear was like used in places where like extreme drought conditions used to prevail. So that place he used to plant prickly pear. For example, is Hisar district in Haryana, and in
Mm.
some places bamboo was also planted. So this guy took all the trouble to plant some like, what was the distance, like 722 kilometers of perfect hedge, and 375 kilometers of strong and good hedge. Like he took all this effort to create a hedge. And see, we can see examples of like this example, like poor soil was dug out and replaced or overlain with better soil. So he also took
Okay.
innovative methods to like plant in desert regions. Like he also took like undertook methods to try to understand how to plant plants in desert conditions also, and in
Mm.
floodplains where like the plants are at the risk of rotting. The root rot can occur. He planted them on a raised bank. So, and he also built a system of nearby wells, rainwater. He built trenches specifically to maintain this hedge, and and he built a road along this entire length. So this road was for the patrolling policemen who used to patrol this region to stop smugglers from smuggling salt. So this was a pretty funny example I found in India, which is not completely related to desertification, but you can see like it is an early start, because the methods
Correct.
which he uses,
Correct.
yeah, are like what we use in modern time to plant
Exactly.
in deserts. So, and the plants which he used are like mostly indigenous thorny scrubs, native plants. So we can use we mostly Indian government also uses this kind of plants to stop desertification in India, like around Thar desert region. So this was a pretty, and I found it funny when I first read it. Like, so I thought, why not include this in this PPT? So I included this. So, and
It's actually
yeah,
very
so
interesting how he found out about it, studied the whole
yeah,
thing, and you can actually sort of consider this as the beginning of starting desertification in, you know,
yeah. Or else we
India.
can consider it like he held a huge grudge against people who don't pay taxes.
और दैट यस आइदर वे इट हेल्प्ड अस अंडरस्टैंड एटलीस्ट कि यू नो कि डेजर्ट
Yeah,
में ऐसा ऐसा
so
होता है ऐसे प्लान्स जाते हैं ऐसा करना पड़ता है
yeah, so that's a big study, the first kind of study like which we can use
एब्सोल्युटली
exploit to stop desertification. So so internationally there are like specifically organizations, if there are any organizations specifically like made for desertification, it will be like the most prominent one will be the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. So UNCCD. It's the abbreviation. So
एब्रिविएशन
and yeah, you can see the map in the right side. Like, so here is India, and the vulnerable part of India. So which is mostly Deccan Plateau. Again, Deccan Plateau only, and the red part here. This is the Thar Desert, the borders of Thar Desert.
ओके
So yeah, so the borders of Thar Desert. Thar Desert is not highlighted. See, uh, Thar desert is not highlighted because it is naturally a desert. So we don't highlight deserts. Same way here also. Here you can see Sahara is not highlighted, but the regions bordering Sahara is highlighted. So and this is a cold desert here in South America and North America. So like, let's not get there. So let's focus here. So these are so entirety of India is vulnerable to desertification.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, not because of which is not because of Thar desert, but because of human activities. Like, because the central region of India is arid region, so and which will transform into a desert if we don't mess around. Like, if we mess around that. It is a convention to combat. So you can read this later at your leisure. You can pause the video and read it later, or you can Google it up. So and the I want to highlight this point. It is the only convention stemming from a direct recommendation of the Rio Conference's Agenda 21. So it was the only it is a direct recommendation of Rio's Conference Agenda 21. Like, they place the like very important prominence. Like, this convention has a very important role in United Nations climate change stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, so it is that important, and it is also the only internationally legally binding framework set up to address the problem of desertification. No other international framework exists for desertification, and the members are 197 parties, which is approximately all the countries in India world. Sorry, so it got a near universal approval. So
That's
which
great.
again highlights how important this is. So, and yeah, and 2006 was declared to publicity, like to publicize the importance of to combat desertification. UN made this 2006 was declared as the International Year of Deserts and Desertification. Okay,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
yeah, and the last point is the most important one, the New Delhi Declaration, which happened in 2019. Uh, COP in COP convention, this declaration was passed, and this one was specifically focused on combating desertification. Okay, and
Okay.
uh, and it happened in New Delhi, which was like ironic. That's why I included this. Um,
So basically, what UN has is a international, it's an international thing. But then regionally, every country में अलग अलग उनका खुद का
yeah,
है
yeah. Every country
desertification
has it.
का.
Every country has a separate body for desertification. Even India has one, which we will still see in the like near the end of this presentation, which
Okay.
will take a lot of time, I guess. So the first major in internationally important way to combat desertification was seen in Algerian Green Dam project. I don't know, I forgot the history around this part. Like, I think that this part was under French, and when during their independence, while they were fighting the French government, the government or like French government, what they did was like the region was particularly well suited for guerrilla warfare, like hit and run wala warfare. So the rebels used to hit the highly disciplined army of the French, and quickly retreat into the desert, like the jungles, not jungles, scrub lands, you can say. So, and because the government as like government's army is huge, which can't maneuver into this forest, like, so they burned those shrublands, those forests,
Oh,
and this led to people complaining to the French government, and the French government way back during that time, like somewhat around during the 1900s, like they uh, they developed a body to address this problem. So that was the first instance in history where a specific government, particularly took interest in the what is called desertification wala part. So that's a history lesson. And Algeria is in northern part of Sahara Desert, like no, next to Morocco, I guess, east of Morocco. And Algerian government, what they decided was like, to combat desertification, to stop the northward development of Sahara Desert. So Sahara Desert is here, and Algeria is here. This one is Algeria. So this red region which is affected. say they wanted to stop this, and they what they did was like they planted these two plants, Aleppo pine and alpha, which are both native and they naturally occur in this part. And the barrier's length was like all the way from Morocco to Tunisia, like 1,000 kilometers in length and 20 kilometers in breadth. So it was a big, huge project. And a few years, like in 2021, a report was published on like this project started in 1960s. Okay, it went like stopping, like depending on the government, it like stopped for a few years and again started for years. Like it occurs with every government project. And during like in 2021, a scientific report was published called as the monitoring the spatio-temporal evolution of the green dam in Chalfa province, Algeria. So which like examined changes from 1972 to 2019 using freely available public resources like satellite imagery, like satellite photos which are available for everyone. They use those to find out like was this project a success or anything like. And they found that it was successful for a few years. And due to improper maintenance, it went like pine plantation crashed. The reason was like because they planted monoculture of trees where trees do not naturally grow. So this is a problem all over the world. Like we always consider shrubs, thorny bushes, grass plants, grasses as
Great.
useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we plant trees. So they could have planted a diverse, like by lots of species of trees, but they decided to go with a single tree.
Mm.
So what happened was that like a pine caterpillar, processionary, so anything like. So what this word means is that I googled it up. So what this means is that this pine caterpillar, gets down at a dark, like at night, and this caterpillar during night time feeds on the leaves of this particular plant, which is called as Aleppo pine. So during night time, this caterpillar has full feasting going on. And hence this project was a complete failure, because complete failure you can say, yeah, complete failure. So
हाँ मतलब सब कुछ चला ही गया है तो
yeah, yeah. Or and the people like they use this pine tree for wood, for burning and everything, and overgrazing, and
हम्म,
also overgrazing livestock because like Algeria, Morocco, this part of region are dependent on grazing livestock. So heavy damage. So and this report suggested that for effective control, dune stabilization methods should have been used. What is this dune stabilization method? There are many methods, but the most natural, we will explore the only the natural method. The biological method we will explore later on. And mechanical chemical method also exists. Like chemical, you spray something which can keep the dune, the dune of desert, like this. It exists like it's like a mountain in the desert. So
yes.
dune keep on shifting due to winds, and you can stabilize the dune by spraying chemicals which increase the weight of the sand, so the winds do not take them up. So those sort of chemical methods also exist, but we will not go for that. We will go with the natural method, and which we will learn in the complete upcoming slides. So dune stabilization methods could have been used, and grazing exclusion. So what happens is that the government should have stopped grazing in particular regions for a particular period of time, until
Hmm.
the native grasses and shrubs could get the time to regenerate.
Okay.
So the important word is natural recovery of the degraded strips. Tips are grasslands. So grassland, this place is a grassland and shrubland, not a place for trees. And the
Hmm.
government could have stopped this by like limiting the grazing, overgrazing happening there. How will you limit that? We will see that also in the upcoming. So and the most important one is that the contemporary research suggests that states that Sahara is not expanding, it is almost entirely dependent on rainfall. So just like I mentioned, like during the beginning of the this presentation, that deserts contract and expand naturally depending on the rainfall. So uh, the this Algerian green dam project was like done on panic mode and using improper method,
Hmm.
without proper monitoring, without proper study, and we can forgive them for that because this is the first example. This is the first project of this kind, this scale.
Okay.
So yeah, so we can forgive them, and
Hmm.
it is almost entirely so. Yeah, and other studies have found that the causes are more complex, and the climate context was very similar. Like this desert, this place is always like this only. Even 3,000 years back, it was always like this. During drought conditions, the grasslands will go back. During rainfall conditions, the grasslands should overtake the desert. So shifting and buffering used to occur naturally. So that's the important point here. So another great green wall. This was a few years after this one began. Algerian Green Dam. This is from Great Green Wall from 1978. Yeah, it is from China. So China. And Gobi Desert. Gobi Desert is in the southern part of Mongolia and northern part of China. So it is not to be completed. So yeah, China. What they did was they also did the same mistake. So they planted fast growing trees. If you come to the criticism part of the last paragraph, they also planted fast growing trees, uh, which which are deep rooted. So even in deserts, right? Even in deserts, groundwater exists, and in extremely desert condition, the groundwater will be like extremely deep, 120 feet deep, something like that, which can't be accessed. But in most deserts, in the low lying area of the desert, right? The when rainfall occurs, water like collects in this low lying part of the place, and the groundwater is there only, a little deeper than normal groundwater, but it is there. So these plants, or this the Chinese government, what they did was like they planted specifically those trees which are deep rooted, which can draw out this groundwater. But the important thing is that this is not sustainable, because these trees in a few years down the line will remove all the groundwater present there. This is not natural and this is not good. But the Chinese scientists who were like doing this great green wall project, they stated that trees do more carbon sequestration, and we can remove the pollution which China causes by planting these trees. So that was the wonderful explanation they gave. So that and so what happens is that the and what nature gave in reply was that in 2000, 1 million poplar trees in Ningxia was lost to a single disease. So setting back 20 years of plantation efforts. So
Oh.
yeah, so
Everything was just lost in one go.
all this money down the drain. So and that's how you play with nature and how nature toys with you. So
Mm.
it is it is planned to complete it around 2015. The project is still ongoing, and at this point it will be 4,500 kilometers long. China has seen 3,000 kilometers square of grassland and 2,000 kilometers of topsoil overtaken every year by the Gobi Desert. So, like I told you, like that, the regions surrounding the bordering the deserts are mostly grasslands and shrublands. So, Gobi Desert is overtaking this grassland and covering up the topsoil. Like topsoil is there in the neighboring regions, good topsoil. But once the sand from Gobi Desert covers them, the farmers can no longer access the topsoil. So that's a problem. And every year, like 3,000 kilometers square and 2,000 kilometers square is a big large area,
Hmm.
which is getting drowned by Gobi Desert. Hence, this project was started, and they have seen success. So it has reversed the desertification of Gobi Desert, which is shrinking by more than 2,000 square kilometers per year as of 2022. And the US government, using its satellite, found out that the claims made by China was true because the greenery, like which is obviously visible from space, is there. But uh, but what happens is that I once watched a video where the Chinese people were like covering the sand dunes with plastic plants. You know that we see those in corporate offices, like in
Yeah.
building. Yeah, plastic. Yeah. So they were doing that in that video, and I was like confused, and I'm like, right now I'm suspecting that data by U.S. government using satellite imagery, because this video was just like came to my mind just right now. So I'll share that video later someday. But so I don't know how true is that, but let's see. The we can learn from their mistakes, but like fast growing trees, monoculture, and unsustainable area practices, deep rooted trees, those sort of stuff. So
I
and
mean, monoculture is anyway known to not have very good survivability as is. And then
yeah,
if you're using it to combat something like desertification, it comes with all the more, complexities.
yeah. So what can we say? Like governments. Great Green Wall. This one is for Africa. So I'll show the map, and this one is the most recent one, 2007. Even India has a Great Green Wall project, which is inspired by this one, like right now, this Great Green Wall of 2000 in Africa. So yeah, so this is a map. You can see that it extends all the way from the eastern coast to the western coast, Ethiopia, Sudan, and Euphrates. Okay, this country is and the red one is the Sahel region. This red part, the red, sorry, orange colored part is the Sahel region, and Sahel region, like it's a very arid region, and this green color strip is called the green strip. Oh, what was the name? Like the Great Green Wall.
Green
So
one.
Great Green Wall. Yeah, I got confused. And what happened? My PC is hanging. Sorry. And these are the countries. The yellow colored part of are the countries which are involved in this project. So
Okay.
lessons learned from the Algerian Green Dam, which happened just north of them. Algerian Green Dam project was like just happening in the northern part of this place, like here, this part. So they started late, but they got plenty of experiences from the previous two contenders, like Algerian Green Dam and Green Wall of China. So this led to an integrated multi-sectoral approach. The earlier two projects involved only governments; they didn't involve the local people at all. So what happens is that government used to plant those trees and the local people used to cut those trees. So
Oh,
it was like cycle. So in Africa it was implemented pretty properly, you can say. It was originally a tree planting initiative, but the project took a multi sector approach, and they involve local people, educating them, teaching them about farming methods, and those sort of stuff. So like you can understand, right? So in 2016, 21 countries had projects related to GGW, Great Green Wall, including farmer-supported natural regeneration. Yeah, like sustainable practices. They taught the farmers sustainable practices, the water conservation methods, those sort of stuff. And as of 2023, about 18 million hectares or 18% of the target has been restored. Uh, and what happens is that the estimated 33 billion to fund the project experienced unfulfilled promises, delays, and poor coordination due to insurgencies. This central part of Africa is like plagued with warlords and
okay.
civil wars, everything, like everything bad with the world. It can be found in that part of the world, like in
Mm.
concentrated amount. So social service and all like takes a back seat in that part of the place. So little monitoring can't be possible only, like if you go to monitoring, you will get you might not return like in complete one piece. So that those sort of troubles, and record keeping, including even where the projects occurred. Like uh, so though people who funded this don't even know where their money went. Like they don't even know the location of their project. So the
And
local
yet,
NGO.
considering all of this thing, if 18% has still been restored, I
Yeah,
think
it
that.
happened in Ethiopia, and some part of Africa, which has a stable
Hmm.
government, like good,
Okay.
pretty stable environment, political environment.
Okay.
So majority of the countries didn't do this. So and also Lucas have damaged multiple projects. So this one is also um, not very promising, but we are government done projects are like this only. They will progress slowly, but they will do it like in a 50 100 years, like we will achieve the target. And this is a Al Baida project, which I found particularly fascinating. So I'm like sharing here. This is funded by the princess of Saudi, like old princess of Saudi. So, and it's a government project, you can say, and it's a land restoration project, poverty alleviation, and heritage preservation program, all in one, because it is located in rural Western Saudi Arabia. Like Saudi Arabia is like a desert country, of course, and majority of the population resides in like urban areas, and rural areas. People exist, but the population is very low, and rural areas are like the bastions of heritage. Like, they are protecting their culture, and hence this project is also a heritage preservation program, and it is based on the principles of permacultural and hydrological design. Like the methods used was like based on this principles, and the region of Al Baida is characterized by rocky, arid foothills of the Hijaz Mountains. Hijaz Mountains. So we have a mountain here which we can exploit. Mountains are always good news when it comes to water, because mountains trap water. So what was the method they used? Uh, Rainwater harvesting through utilization of rock terraces, gabions, and swale lines, slowing down flash floods in the highlands. So you might be wondering how the hell can flash floods occur here in desert, and because it's because of these mountains. The mountains trap rainfall. They get rainfall, occasional rainfall, which comes in intense flash floods, because the mountains are barren. There are no trees to stop the flow of water. So water comes, it rains suddenly there, and water flows suddenly, and it also vanishes suddenly. So
Hmm.
that's why it's desert. So, and we
Okay.
are like, this project is trying to slow down the water which comes from the mountain top, and over the time, like once we develop the soil around the mountain, like once we develop good amount of topsoil, will like plant grasslands, and maybe a grassland, yeah. So their like future scope is like to eventually, according to the last line, see, to eventually transform the region into a savanna ecosystem,
Hmm.
because savanna ecosystem is the natural part. Like savanna is a grassland, so which is the natural ecosystem which can thrive there. So they are not aiming for like Amazon jungle type forest. They are going for a realistic type savanna ecosystem type forest eventually. So they are like, first method is like they are doing rainwater harvesting, and then slowly and steadily they are like planting drought resistant plants, native plants, and eventually once this native plants take root, they will protect the soil, slow down the water. The plants themselves will slow down the water, and they will this flash floods will reduce, and eventually they will transform into a seasonal stream or wadis are seasonal stream which
Okay.
occur naturally all through the Arabian Peninsula. Yeah.
So, so then what is the What is the most effective way then to combat desertification in a manner that is not, causing you flash floods or causing plantations to go and
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm taking this presentation. So we'll see them. And the answer to your question is right now in front of your screen. Like I hope you can see them. Like reforestation gets at one of the root causes of desertification, and it's not just a treatment of the symptom. So
hmm,
desertification occurs because lack of vegetation,
hmm,
and reforestation is the direct answer for it. Now the question is, how do we go about reforestating stuff? So once that misconception again pops up, like reforestation means planting trees. No,
correct.
reforestation is like restoring the plant to land to its initial state, like its previous state when it was good. So we'll
Hmm,
do that by using various methods. Like so, I'll be going through pretty few, famous methods which have been successfully implemented in this world. And now all you will be seeing is about these methods only. So you ask that question and I'll answer them. So I have like kept the slides like this. Like the first step while for like to combat desertification is bringing back water or conserving the water which we already have. So the starting methods which will involve conserving water, percolating, because like water in deserts, like they run off, they do not percolate properly. We will learn about methods which encourage the percolation of water, which will stop the spread of water, like will stop the water from running away into the sea. And then we'll learn about soil, how to correct the soil, and then we'll learn about for farming methods, desert farming methods. And then we'll be going about bizarre, I'll say bizarre because that or you can say extremely weird methods which can be used, which are like which I found bizarre. We'll be learning about them also, and a few sketchy methods also, like which is not completely based on the sound principles of science, but I found them interesting enough to include. So let's begin with this one. So this is a gabion, the one we saw here, gabion. So it's called a small check dam. It's made up of rock, which is tied together by metal bars or something. Anything you can use to tie them, but the material need to be, or you can use nets to keep them. And this and this is placed in valleys, or the like a water flow follows a particular pattern while coming from mountains, right? And
hmm,
we will place this check dams in that part. And what this check dam will do, like it will slow the speed of the water,
okay,
it will allow the water to collect, and it allows the water to go inside inside earth, like to recharge the groundwater. So that's a method. And the one on the right side is this one, rock terraces. Rock
okay,
terraces also work on the same principles, like but
slowing down the water.
but we don't keep them in streams. Like this is it's placed in a stream. We just
Hmm,
keep them in the sides of mountains, like. And then we'll learn about this method, which is called as a zai or tasa. I don't know the pronunciation. Like it is a farming technique to dig pits, like you can see here in the left side image where my mouse is hovering. I hope you can see that mouse.
yes.
Ah, perfect. So this mouse, yeah, this is a pit, and we fill the pit with organic matter, and
Hmm,
then we plant the plant. Sorry, then we water it, and then we plant it, and the plant grows. So this organic matter, like which can be anything, compost or anything. So this what this pit does is that it catches water during pre-season. Pre-season means before the planting occurs, before the field is getting planted. This empty ditch, this empty ditch will trap water, and it will allow the water to go inside the groundwater, and it
okay,
also functions as a compost. So during rainy season, before we begin the planting. This pit will collect all the organic matter along with the water. The water will like bring all the organic matter with it, and this organic matter will get collected in the pit, and it will turn into compost, which we can
Hmm.
use, which the plant uses. Sorry. A swale is a shallow channel with gently sloping sides. So yeah, swale. I'll teach swale. Like let me show you swale. So a swale, uh, swale is this one. You can see that this sort of a river moat-like structure, like this
Hmm.
river-like structure. This one. So
Yes.
this was from a YouTube channel. I took this photo, and so they are developing converting deserts into like grasslands. This grasslands. So they have dug up this channel, sort of channel. Like swale is a gentle slope. Okay, it's like a very gentle. It's not very steep. You can see that the depression is very gentle. Like
Hmm.
it's going very smoothly. Like it is not steep. It is very smooth. Also was made, and it was a there was a particular reason like this. These people have made a swale like this. Like it begins around this plant, near this plant,
Yeah.
this part, and it ends around this like this part in the left side. This plants. So plants are plants naturally grow in places where water is present. So in depressions, example depressions. So if you take before they dug up this place, this couple, it's a couple like they are like a husband and wife. They are working here. They took the contour. They mapped out the contour of this region, and they followed this plants. So plants naturally follow this pattern. Like you can see this. This is called as the
Hmm.
tiger bush pattern. Tiger bush pattern. The right side image, you can see like it resembles a tiger's
Tiger
stripe.
stripe.
Yeah. So what happens is that when it rains in this part of in deserts, the region has natural depressions, small depressions, which are like which we can't see. Like depressions are very low to notice, but the plants know this. Plants don't know this. Plants naturally grow in this depression because those depression collect rainwater. Same
Okay.
same principle of this zai, but natural. It occurs naturally. So these depressions collect rainwater, and plants grow in this part because these depressions are moist. Plants grow in them, and once these plants grow, they provide their shade and make it even more cooler. And when the next year rain comes, this part is already cool, made cool by the plant, and also because of depression already has some amount of moistness, and this goes on, and new rain comes, new this depression will receive more water, and this pattern is like keep on developing. So it is a very prominent pattern seen in most parts of the world. This is called tiger bush pattern. So this you can see
Okay.
that in this landscape also, these trees are following a specific pattern here. Like say they are like following this line. This means that the streams coming from this part of the mountains, like during rainy season, they follow this path.
Okay.
That's the reason they are specifically dug up here. So this stream will get connected here, and water will get
The
collected here.
plants will start growing over there as well.
Yeah. And in between you can see the xi pits. You can see that like one, two, three, four, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this method. Okay, and and this is another method. This left side photo is from Maruan. Maruan is a project from by like by a forest like so, and it's in Rajasthan. It's a very good project which is
Hmm.
specifically made for the Rajasthan region, and they are doing water conservation project, and this is a image from one of their place and YouTube videos. Okay, and this is called as a farm bund, which it's also based on the same principle of zai, and it is placed along the boundary of agricultural fields. We don't plant inside them. Zai, like the ditches are very small, so 30 centimeter ditches, and we plant inside them. The farm bands, we do not plant them. We are like they are simply in the retaining walls, like the simply retaining walls along the boundary of agricultural fields. They like collect rainwater in the field itself. So
Okay.
this helps like this stops erosion and protects the fertile soil. So that's the difference between that and this, between Zai and farm months. Windbreak. Windbreak, it's very obvious. You can see that, like trees planted along the borders of fields. When wind blows through this part, right now it is green color, which means the plant will protect the soil. But this one, this you can see this field is not
Yeah.
planted. Yeah, it's barren. So when
Mm.
the topsoil is vulnerable for due to winds, but because we have planted these trees here, the winds, even when they blow along this part, even
They will
they
not
will
blow the
carry,
soil
they will,
away.
like, these trees will like dampen their flow, like they obstruct
Mm.
their flow, and the wind will not be that intense. Even if the wind manages to lift some amount of soil, the row of trees in the next field will stop that soil from going anywhere. So it's a natural method. So, and this is ancient example, extremely ancient, 2000 years old, from Tamil Nadu. This is Kaveri. This is a satellite image of Kaveri. You can see that this is the main course of Kaveri. This is
Mm.
a tributaries. These are the tributaries of Kaveri. And right here, just as you reach here, you can see that there is an island there, right?
Mm.
The river splits in two main parts here. So here is, in this island there is a temple, and in this part of the region there is called a dam called as Kallanai, or is called as a Grand Anai Katti. Kallanai means Kal means stone and Anai means embrace. So it's a dam. It's one of the oldest dam in the world, which is still functioning today. So it this what this dam does, that it stops the water here. It stops the water of Kaveri from going all the way to the sea and getting up wasted. So what they do is that this dam like splits the river into two, and this two
Yeah.
river and this two river, it's again stopped by another dam, which splits the river in again two part, which goes on continuing. Like you can see the vein like structure forming here, right? Yeah, this vein
Yeah.
like structure, yeah, root like structure. So this is all man made. Okay, the main course of the river is goes here and reaches the sea. This entire region, this entire route is all man made. This was built by Chola Empire, king, like it's the most Karikala Cholan, and he built these structures. So it is a example of native example of how we conserve, we like use water properly. So this is a pretty sustainable method also, because uh, we the once during monsoon, like the Kaveri overflows. Most of the Indian rivers are monsoon fed rivers. During monsoon, like they go wild. During monsoons, the rivers will like break banks, everything. They will flood the neighboring part. So during monsoons, they keep the gates open. So during monsoon, all the water will like flow through the main course of the river. So, but during the remaining seasons, the water flowing through them during the summer seasons, when the farmers require water, like they can open the gates of this. There's a specific different gate for every part of the river. So sluice gate is also is sluice gate is what we call them. Like you remove you like lift the gate and water will flow out. So this so that is a gate for every part of this river. You see every stream here, every small river. So that's used for irrigating this entire region is called as the rice bowl of South India. So it was developed, man, it is a man-made structure. So this is also a pretty good example of water conservation or proper utilization of water. And another example is called as a kanat. Kanat, it's from Iran, or the, like you can see, Fertile Crescent. So, Fertile Crescent, Iran, Iraq, those sort of places. Persian Empire, basically, the ancient Persian Empire. This is a system of transporting water from an aquifer. So here, this is all. So you can see the image here. It's called as a mother well. So this is the main source of water. So always you can see that most of the water, always water comes from higher regions. So you can see that this part is a mountain. So this part is a mountain, and mountain has groundwater which can be accessed here. This
Hmm.
mother well, and what we have done is that we have dug up this part to reach here, which might be a few hundred kilometers away.
Okay.
So yeah, and this shaft you can see that these are not used for water. Like they are mainly for construction and maintenance purpose. So if anything gets blocked here, you can enter through this shaft and remove this. Like you can widen the channel, or you can do anything like. So this is called as a canal channel. And the advantage of is that it transports water with little to no evaporation. So what happens is that this part is not accessible to sunlight only. So it's fully underground, so no evaporation takes place, and resistant to natural disasters, of course, to earthquakes and floods, and to deliberate destruction in war. So during war, the first resource which enemy will like keep his hand on, like which he destroys is water source. Enemy will always destroy the water source first before doing anything. So it is it is impervious to that also, and naturally flowing by it flows naturally. So this place is already always moist because it is a mountain place, mountainous region, and there is plenty of groundwater here. It's always moist, and this place will always be dry. You can see here because it is exposed to the sun, and this is a dry place. It is a desert place. So the water always flows from a moist place to the dry place. So it's it's self pumping system, something like that. So I was talking about sand dune stabilization. Okay, so sand dune stabilization biologically you can do it like this. Four dune flora. Four dune flora means the flora which is exposed to the harsh condition of the winds. So the plants in this four dune part will have to be strong, and will have to be like tolerant to salt and burial, like because sand dune has two parts, a four dune part and a back dune part. Four dune part is exposed to the wind, sea, everything. So the plants in this four dune part will have to be robust, and in the back dune flora will have to grow in dense patches like this. You can see this grass here, or even this image here. You can see that it grows in a dense patch. So what natural this one sand dune stabilization occurs naturally in nature, unless of course humans mess it up by destroying sand dunes, sand mining, overgrazing, those sort of stuff. And if it is implemented properly, this there is a climax stage here also, like which is called as later shrub stage, where larger plants with deeper roots can be planted, like this one. Introduced species, introduced species can wreck it. So what happened is that in New Zealand they planted non-native species to protect the sand dunes. But this non-native plants they did protect sand dunes, but the sand dunes which they made was like extremely tall, which was not natural in New Zealand, and which caused lots of accidents. So with a plant which was deliberately introduced by the government was again deliberately removed by the government. So they are spending money to remove that plant which they themselves planted, and they are now planting native plants there. And another example, so sand dunes also protect from tsunamis, those sort of stuff. So there are villages in Tamil Nadu, in the eastern coast of India, where in Bay of Bengal, hurricanes, tsunamis, they are like very common. And these villages, what they did was, a few kilometers east of their villages, they have huge sand dunes which they have maintained, which the fishermen themselves maintain. So during the tsunamis, during like a recent tsunami, like few years back, a deadly tsunami occurred there. But these villages, this three villages, Rajakka, Mangalam, Alikal. So this they this people. they didn't get affected because the sand dunes protected them from the strong waves. Like they acted as natural barriers and weakened the strong waves. So that's also an example, like how deserts and sand dunes are important. Like, and if we can preserve them properly, they can serve us perfectly well. And the thing is that mangroves are what comes to our mind when we think about coastal regions. But the thing is that most of India's coastline are beach and rocky coastlines. So mangroves form a very small percentage of coast, and mangroves function very good in places where they are naturally found. But most of the coastline in India is made of beach. So sand dunes are what come in handy in those places. Soil restoration techniques. So yeah, we are done with the water conservation part. We are now on the soil restoration part. Like, so there are two aspects of this: provisioning of water, how to restore a soil which is affected by desertification. So again, provisioning of water is most important. That's why I focused on water previously. And hyper fixation and hyper fertilizing soil, fixing soil and then fertilizing it. Okay, so wind breaks, just like we saw it right now. Wind breaks and wind breaks reduce soil erosion and transpiration and help fixate soil. Okay, and clay due to lack of water. Like when desertification occurs, water becomes scarce, and instead of getting porous, clay actually hardens itself. So instead of we need to use techniques like contour trenching. So this is a image from Maharashtra only, India, Maharashtra only, Pimpri, near Pune, Pimpri. So this is a contour trenching. So this is done in clay part where the soil has, like the clay has become extremely hardened, that part. So this trench is different from swale. Swale is as a very gentle slope. Trenches means pits. Trenches are very steep, and mostly stone. People keep stone walls here to keep the trench from falling over. So this is a permanent structure sort of thing. So maintenance also less. So we like stones are placed along this edges of this part, so that it remains safe and we don't need to maintain it that often. So when rainfall occurs, water gets collected here, which can be used later. And zai or tillage, yeah, same techniques. Zai, which I already spoke about. And enriching of the soil can be done by planting leguminous plants, succulents, and in the later stages we can plant drought resistant fruit crops, trees like grains, barley, those sort of stuff. So first method to restore soil is to create water or to conserve water, and then fixing the topsoil, which is done by windbreaks and thus other methods which I told. And then comes fertilizing the part. Fertilizing part can be done naturally by adding organic waste like dye method or contour trenching, or and then we can use leguminous plants. So it's a stage. And
All right, Jehu. So I think this has been a great amount of knowledge for today, and it has been a lovely session. And thank you so much for emphasizing so much on this topic and going into so much of depth and covering all about desertification, how they happen in different parts of the world, and how different sorts of innovative things are happening, and better cleaning of reclaiming of deserts is happening. And thank you so much, audience, for attending this session, and we hope to see you next Saturday.
yeah, thank you.